Wow, no takers for the Japan government bonds. For the fourth day in a row, there's no trading in this market. Now, of course, there's a reason for that. But more important is that liquidity is definitely drying up. And that is one reason why there should be a very soon. And of course, tonight is the most important thing. Even the market now is doing triple doji now because they're all waiting for the CPI data tonight. Okay, so more details coming up. Let's go. Alright, once again, disclaimer applied as usual. Make sure that you do your risk assessment. Alright, and thank you, AIMS, for the kind sponsorship. Now, let's talk about PPI first. Okay, now last night the PPI data increased 0.4% in September. Now, PPI excluding food, energy, trade rises 0.4%. And of course, it's up 8.5% year on year, and core PPI gains 5.6%. So in short itself, the numbers are actually higher. And this is actually quite stressful now because that means that there could be a little bit chance that tonight's CPI could stay at the current number. Now, the market is looking at slightly lower, 7.9. But the thing is this, if something goes wrong or some of the statistics, it's not able to predict, right? But what if the number is above 8.3? And that will definitely scare the shit out of the market, all right? So the thing is that at the same time, we also saw the federal official minutes saying that they're still looking at higher rates to stay for a while, okay? And this is, again, pretty hawkish. So if tonight, the CPI data is really coming out, let's say above 8.2, 8.3, then they'll be selling. Now, if the data is 7.9 or lower, then they'll become buying. So today, market itself, right, will likely be very soft until 8:30 p.m. And that is where things will get a bit scary. And of course, Joe Biden came in and said that no worry, there's a very slight chance of a recession. So the whole world knows that we have inversion the last, how many times? Let's say last 10 times. And always after the inversion of the 10-year and the 2-year, we will see a recession. And now we have Joe Biden, the current president, says that there's no need to panic. Well, in my opinion, is this. IMF already on Tuesday, there's a worsening outlook for the global economy. So, I mean, seriously, an organization already tell you this, but the current president say no, okay, I leave it for you to decide. But look at his face, he looks pretty tired. Alright, now, the thing is this, for the US side itself, right, the Treasury suffers the steepest loss on the record and spiking volatility. Now, the ICE, Bank of America, move gauge of volatility, the one in red, is spiking up. And you can see that this is no good. Because the last time we saw something like this was back in the pandemic time itself, and of course, that created the market to come off, right? So this is telling you that the drawdown now at this moment is really picking up, and this is no joke. So funds are actually moving away because they are getting more worried. Okay, this is not a good sign. And of course, would that cause a spillover? Definitely. Now look at Japan right now. Now Japan, the foreign funds has dumped record amount of Japan bond in September. Okay, this is just coming on October 11 on Bloomberg. Now, why? Because basically the major central banks rush to raise interest rate to combat inflation. So people like them, they don't like it, so they'll dump it. Okay, they'll dump it, and this is as much as $43.9 billion of Japanese bond in September alone. Okay, and one of the reasons because the yen has gathered more. The yen itself, right, the selling gather more momentum, as we all see that now the dollar yen is at 130 to 140. Hence, therefore, that is not a good sign. In fact, the currency just hit the 24 years low against the dollar, as BOJ reaffirmed its super easy monetary policy, prompting Japanese authorities to intervene the FX market. Now, we saw it happen on yesterday on UK, and now the BOJ is doing that. So when government come in to intervene, right, I can tell you this, based on my 20 years in the market, it has never come out fine. Every time it's out, you have a short-term movement of it, but after that, the market will just resume what they're doing. So you can see right now, the foreign net selling of the Japanese bond, right, has hit all-time low since 2005. So you can see that this is really bad. The last time we saw something like this was during the pandemic time. Now it's even more than the last time. So this tells you that money is a great concern right now, and of course liquidity is another issue. Now the gauge of the Japan bond liquidity at the most stretched in over a decade. Alright, there's no incentive to buy, that's for sure. Because why? I mean, you're talking about very low rate. There's no rational reason to trade in this market. Short term, you can't make any much money. Long term wise, it's alright. The return itself is way too low to really make ends meet. In fact, it doesn't combat inflation at all. So it's very hard for the investors to hold on a 10-year yield. It's very clear, all right? And that's the reason why right now, right, you can see this is on Wall Street Journal. The Japan bond market sees record of no trading, okay? No trading for 4 straight sessions, okay? Because the central bank keep tight of the control of the yield. So all this information tells you that money, all right, cash flow, liquidity is getting a bit of a problem, and more or less it will have an effect on the stock market. So watch out for this, guys. That's a rationale for everything. So be careful, all right? Now, of course, PepsiCo yesterday came out of very interesting news. They apparently hiked their forecast after higher pricing. Okay, so what they did is that they actually increased their price to boost revenue. Okay, so that will cause CPI numbers to go higher, right? Isn't that true? Okay, all right. So the thing is this: the revenue for the quarter was up 9%, and that so-called increasing of prices helped a bit because the volume actually declined in some units, and that's my point. When prices go up itself, okay, what happened is this: people start to find it expensive, right? So people don't buy, or they may find a substitute. But then for Pepsi, they said that okay, fine, I may have a volume going down. Why don't just increase the price? So because there's some demand in certain area, I mean, like soft drink and stuff, or even this, the chips. All right. So what they do is this: the chip price retain, but they do something interesting to it. As you know, they reduce the content inside and make sure the air is pretty heavily pumping. So it looks like okay, but the content itself is actually slightly lesser. Okay. Now the thing is that we also saw some of the burgers we have right now. We are still paying the same price for the burger, but the patty is getting smaller, the cheese is half and stuff like that. So is this quite going right now? And if let's say they do this, of course, once the consumer find it that, hey, come on, I'm getting robbed in some way or another, if they start to reduce their buying, that is where all the problem will come. Now, the only thing is this, okay, whether the durable goods itself is able to save the day. Now, this is the chart since 1994, and you can see that most of the time, the Wilshire 5,000 total market cap, right, and the manufacturing new order, they move in a tandem. So if the market hit recession, you do see them coming down. Okay, got an idea now? Yeah, pretty simple. Okay, so now what we have here, the thing is this: the Wilshire 5,000 is now in the negative zone, as you can see right now, but the interesting is the manufacturing new order is staying up. There seems to be a bit of divergence between them. Okay, the good part of this is that who knows that the market could be oversold, and then after that, once they find a base, it may go back up again. Because the durable goods seems telling you that, hey, the economy is still doing well. Or later, if let's say the durable goods are to really come down, oh my God, then the stock market will really, really sell. So it's a big question mark itself whether who is following who, because all the way since the last 20 over years, usually they both move in tandem, but this time around there is a divergence. So people who are more positive will say that this is actually a good opportunity to buy into the market. For those who are pessimistic, right, they'll think that, oh my God, this is going to be an Armageddon. Okay, so how you see it, right? But definitely for sure itself, every time when you see a spike up of this movement here itself, right, we can see that it will also indirectly cause a recession because why? Cost increases, and this is something that we have to take note of that. So watch out for this. All this information tells you that there could be a very big movement coming in for the US market. All right, so that is a short one for today in terms of the fundamental, because today the most important is the CPI data. Let's take a look at the market right now first. Okay, so first of all, let's look at the US market. Now 3 dojis, my God. Now 3 dojis, you look at the formation like a plane formation. Yep, okay. You can see that the market now is trying to test above the 29,563, the 80% mark, okay? And it failed, okay? But it also stands in the middle between the 80% mark and the 77.5% mark. Okay, so what we expect is that now with this triple doji here is all right. I will tell you this, guys. Why? Just be careful, because if tonight the CPI data is 8.1 to 8.2, okay, nothing will happen. Okay, it's just gonna be like, okay, they'll be bad, but not so bad. But let's say it's like, example, it's like 7.9 or 7.8, the market will shoot up. Okay, so now it's at 29,273, right? It will shoot up easily to 29,563 easily. So watch out for this potential upside there. On the downside itself, that's gonna be the bad one. If the market actually has the CPI data and it come up be like 8.4, 8.5. Oh gosh, this will sell the market all the way down to this point here, and that's about 28,639. Okay, this is no joking matter. Let me just do this for everybody can I do my drawing here itself? Moment a minute. Okay, let me just pause it here. Okay, so I'm going to draw for you guys. If the thing is that it's going to be the CPI data is, let's say 7.9. Okay, let's say 7.9 CPI. Okay, CPI. Ew, okay, got a bit too big. CPI data, right? If an example is like this itself, then the market will shoot up easily to this point here. Let me just make it smaller for all. Okay, so let's just look at this right now. That will be here. That will be the first target, and that will be the 29,563 level. But if the downside happen, then it may come down all the way to this point here itself, and that's 28,639. So sorry for that. It's some technical problem with my computer, so I can't show you the numbers. But you should get this from here and here. Okay, all right, let's look at the China market right now. The China market, we can see that we had some problem right here. It's still coming off. Okay, yesterday we saw a very strong rally, and that's probably the plunge protection team from China coming in, but it seems to fizzle out and now it's trading below the MLP. Now I still think that the market will be going down to this point here, so I still believe in that. So the downside is still going to be at 12,280 level, so watch out for this, guys. Okay, now how about this chart here? Now this is the channel chart that I draw for quite a while, and it seems that every time the market comes here, there's a little bit of support, and that's the reason why you can see recently the market finds some strength over here. But because of the 5% rule is staying below the 80% mark, it shows that the market can do a bit of capitulation towards the downside. And of course, I've been saying this word for a long word this time myself. I still think that the market need to see a little bit more downdraft to squeeze out and make people jump out of the market, and that's where the boys will come in. Okay, now for today, it's going to be a slow day, very slow. I believe the market won't move much. Okay, so let's take a look right now. The Dow Jones today has no pivot for us. Okay, for TWB system today, no pivot. So the OP 29,290 will be the key level to watch. If it stays above OP, the upside could go back up to 29,627. That is the BNB RL. If they stay below OP, then the BNB SL, which is at 28,917, will be the support. Now KSI and KRW, they're having two different mixed signal, so the market will likely be the same if it's sideways for a while, because you can see that over here the KSI was red, but the KRW was cyan. So that's why the market has been pretty sideways, because the buying and selling, both of them are fighting each other out. Okay, now for the Nasdaq, same thing again. All right, the selling there's some selling. You can see that. That's why the selling is faster compared to the Dow. But it's done a doji for today, and you can see it's really firming around the support level of the BNB, which is 10,831. Now the pivot one is at 10,815. So which means that if the market can stay above the 815, that could be some buying up. Okay, so doji directional day, stick to the OP rule. All right, this is going to be important. Now, how about the S&P 500? Now, S&P 500 is also doing the same thing right now. Sluggish movement. The KRW shows that the selling weightage is there, but the boys are trying to buy. So that's why you can see every time when the market comes off, the buying create a tail. All right. So there is a strong KCB at this point right now. Let me just draw for you. The strong KCB at this 35.79 level has been firming the market for the last 2 days. So if the market stays above 35.79, then the upside could be 36.58. But if the market stays below 35.89, the MLP, and 35.79, then watch out for 35.45. This could actually bring the market to a next level, and it could be going down to 34.19. All right. Now let's look at the Hang Seng, and Hang Seng is still coming down, as we can see from the chart right now. Now this morning the Hang Seng tried to trade higher a little bit, but once it hit the MLP 16,653, it couldn't stand above it, and the selling pushed it back. But because the KSI, KRW both are red, so the selling is still available in the market. Plus China A50 is still down. I believe that if, let's say, there's some leakage in the market, okay, we could see the market coming down all the way to 16,173. So watch out for this. It is all possible. The upside is 16,909. So upside is 909, downside is 173. Okay, Nikkei. Now for the Nikkei, you can see that it's coming off because the yen, there's some profit taking on the yen, and of course you can see that there's doji directional day. So as long as the market stays below OP, usually there'll be some selling, and it has just lost the MLP at 26,368. If we go right into the screen right now, look at the MLP, right? Let's take a look here. You can see that this is MLP of the day. Initially the market went up, right? But once it breaks below the OP and MLP, bang, the market came off, right? So that's the reason why we need to stick the OP rule and make sure that we know that where's MLP, and when you combine them together, you can see the impact. Now, the downside will watch out for the 26.122 because that is pivot 2. If the Nikkei breaks below pivot 2, then the selling may bring it all the way down to the BNB SL level, and that is 25,593. So that is about 700 points. But of course, I don't think it will happen tonight. So maybe a couple of days later. Okay. All right. Let's look at DEX yesterday. Now, DEX yesterday, really, what you can see from the chart is that there's a strong support at 12174 yesterday, and again, you can see DEX was just bouncing around at the BNB extension minus 1 times 1. That's 12,157. So as long as the market stays around this area, it is fine. But of course, if the market loses this number, then the next wave of selling should be able to bring it down all the way to this point again, and that's about 12,000 level, okay? But all these pivots are not today's numbers, so wait for the market to open, and then the pivot will be able to release. But KSI and KRW both are red, so this tells me that even the market can go up, right? There will be more profit taking from the top, so traders just need to be careful on this. Now, crude oil, yesterday I already mentioned it will have to come down, and indeed it happened. The BNB RL was at this 86.51, which the market has broke below. So now the thing is this, okay, 86.66 is the MLP for today. If the market can retain and goes up, because the pivot one is 85.96, so if the market can stay above OP and also break MLP, we could see oil going back up again to 90.60. But of course, no more using of the BNB because it has already hit the target the last round. So this is just only like a form of reference, okay? Now, the MA is 84.80, and that's the MA30. Now, if the market doesn't go up and breaks below pivot 1, then the market could come down all the way to 84.80 level. All right. At the moment now, KSI and KRW are still on the positive side, even though the KRW is losing a bit of strength at the moment. All right. Now, gold and silver. Let's look at silver first. Okay, silver is resisted at MLP 19077, and you can see very clearly it's got resisted itself. KSI and the KCX both are on the negative side, so it's undeniable we could see some profit taking downwards towards 1856 on the for the silver market. Okay, so traders watch out for this. It is possible. Now, of course, if the CPI data is going to be, let's say, very good, then of course the dollar will pull back down, and that will actually pump the silver price up to even 1948. So let's just watch the movement at 8:30 tonight. Okay, it's going to be a big night. Now, for gold price right now, yes, indeed, the KSI is showing that the boys are trying to buy. That's why the selling is not as strong as it is. But the KCX is right. It's showing that there's some weightage on the selling side. And of course, if you look carefully, the MLP is 1669 for the gold, and MA30 is 1678. So as long as the market goes below MLP, downside potential could be still here as well, and that is roughly around 1660 range. Okay, all right, around this area, 1660 to 1661. Okay, all right, let's look at the next two, which is the where's my Bitcoin? Oh, here we go. So sorry for that. Okay, now for Bitcoin, you can see that it's really moving sideways now, and it's hanging afloat at 19,000 level. Now, the KSI and the KCX both are showing that there should be a little bit of selling pressure to come. So I'm going to say this up front. The BNB support level, which is 18,881, okay, 18881 is going to be a very critical support. If the market loses that, then the selling can bring it down all the way to 18,117. But of course, conversely true, if the market stays above OP and break above pivot 1 at 19,147, which this morning it tried, then the upside could bring it back to 19,411. Now, for those who are into Bitcoin, let me just show to you why am I so into this. Let's take a look right now. You can see that initially the market was trading above the pivot 1. It went up first, but once it failed, right, once it loses the OP and the pivot 1, you can see the market just follow it as if they know that they are being resisted right now. So this is the power of having the TWB system. Okay, so that is what we have for Bitcoin. How about Ethereum? Now Ethereum is sideways, same thing again. I mentioned again, the downside is 1252. Okay, watch out for this 1252. All right, now I want to share this with you. This is the US stock. Can you just bring in the US stock right now? Give me a moment. Okay, so first of all, the 10-year yield has pulled off a little bit yesterday because some treasury selling, but I believe that it's just temporary, and this yield, if it's moving up again, this time round, it's going to go for it, okay? It's going to go for it itself, 4.2%. Then my target is 4.5 by the end of the year, okay? Now, what I want to talk about is a stock individually, and this counter called Tesla. Now, you can see from here, yesterday, Tesla came down. The low was approximately 211, okay? 211. And then after that, it rebounded back to 217. Now, I still believe that Tesla will be coming down to somewhere around here at 207 to 208. The volume wasn't very intimidating, so which means that there could be more selling later this week for Tesla. All right, and of course, some people ask for Apple. I told you guys, Apple 138 is a very important support level, and the last time we saw this, it got itself supported, and then the resistance 148. Now, if the Apple loses 138, the next target will be 133. And if you ask me, I believe that you can buy it cheaper at 133. And last but not least itself is Occidental Petroleum. I've been telling you guys this stock is worthy to buy, but I let it come down first, and it came down, right? So if let's say we are looking at crude oil price to go up eventually, then of course $61 to $62 will be a very good price for you to buy into OXY. Now for crude oil, as I said earlier, it's alright, it's facing some selling pressure. Whether a conventional chart or TWB chart, it's pretty clear that there should be a bit of pullback. And of course, when crude oil price goes down, usually the stock market will also do that. Alright. Now for the VIX itself, for the VIX, where there are people asking me on that content. Now VIX is trying to stay around 32 to 33, and I still think that VIX will be able to hit 44 in the good time. All right, I still believe that VIX is going to go higher. And last but not least is this one here itself. You can see that this is the put call ratio. Okay, and it's still trading at 1.02, so we're not really at the oversold region yet, so there could be another round or two of selling in the equity market. Then maybe we can see the usual reversal. All right, so I wish you all the best for today. Remember, the CPI data is coming out 8:30 p.m. Singapore time, and of course, if you want to be careful on this, consider to put a level in a bit, buy and a sell, so that you hedge a position. So whichever the price goes, you can exit it later. Okay, all right. So wish you all the best. This is Kel signing off. Bye bye.